Good evening, live from Pies and Pints, downtown Cincinnati in the Banks, our 26th edition of Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends, Tuesday night edition. And guys, the beer's flowing pretty good here in Cincinnati, and right next to Paul Brown Stadium. So we got a pretty good crowd here today. We had people here earlier that left, so we got a good group here. On the screen today. We have James from Brownsburg and Jamie from Brantford, our good friends as usual. So we got some Canadian trivia to open up today with Jamie. We're not cheating anymore, okay?
I got a little bit of delay on your end here, Jimmy. But
a little delay? You can still hear me? All right,
like an echo.
A little bit of an echo. I'll try to fix that here in a second. I'll sign off and get back in. But the question, how many points did Wayne Gretzky score in his career? And it's at multiple choice. Do you need multiple choice, or do you know it already?
No, I probably need the multiple choice because I don't remember.
Okay. All right. I did not give the answers to James, just to let you know.
Okay, so let you know, I had to mute James's mic because that's why I'm hearing the echo. So
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so A, we got 1,876 points. B, 2,295. C, 2,857. D, 3,204.
I'll go with C.
And you win, Jamie.
Thank you.
You won.
He's Canadian. He's Canadian. He's supposed to know that. You're Canadian. You're supposed to know that. They teach that in like first grade.
I think they actually tattooed that number on us when we were born. So.
Well, hey guys, another remote. We're kind of doing some testing with our sound system down here today, as we plan on doing some more remotes, moving forward. But as you can see behind James and I right now, we get the beautiful view of Paul Brown Stadium lit up in all its glory here. So we're literally probably not 200 yards away right now from Paul Brown Stadium, brother. So I'm
jealous.
Beautiful night. So, hey, couple quick updates here real quick. Some things. We got a great lineup tonight. We've got Lindsey Patterson from Cincinnati Enquirer. We've got some great stuff to talk about with Lindsey. We'll do a recap of the City Up North game, and we're going to talk about a preview here with the game this Sunday. But we have some other stuff we're going to surprise Lindsey with here in a little bit. We also have a special fans of the week here, a family from upstate New York. You're going to love this family. They're in the waiting room right now. They're absolutely wonderful people. You're going to love it. And Tom, Justin, and I will hit on some History 101 again. We're going to talk about James Brooks and very special announcement right now. We're going to get right to the special announcements. Over the next 2 weeks, we have James freaking Brooks coming on the show here, and Margus Hunt. Now, I don't know what week we're going to have them, but we're going to have them each of the next 2 weeks. Okay. So pretty excited about get James Brooks, but tonight on the History 101, Tom, Justin, and I are going to actually dig into some conversation about James Brooks and the history of James Brooks here in Cincinnati. So some really good stuff to talk about tonight, guys. So let's talk about some announcements here. So we just told you about James Brooks and Margus Hunt coming on the next couple weeks. Very excited about James Brooks and Margus. I want to let everybody know you're hearing this right now for the first time. Save the date, November 15th, which is the Bengals play I don't even know what to call. I want to call them the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's come up with a name with these clowns, the Clowns.
Yellow and black.
Yellow and black. We're going to do a very special salute to service Bengals game day party, game watch party with Ken Anderson Alliance and the Green Beret Foundation, hosted by 16 Lots Brewery and Bengal Jim's Before the War tailgate with friends. We're going to do a huge fundraiser. We're hoping to max it out at about 300 people at 16 Lots. There is a very high likelihood Ken Anderson will be in attendance. We'll find out for sure about that. More to come on this, but there's going to be a $1 donation to the foundations, the charities, for every beer purchased, special pizza. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a special pizza for Ken Anderson. If you order the Ken Anderson pizza, this is Ken Anderson's toppings. His favorite pizza is sausage, green peppers, and onions. And for every pizza bought and every beer bought, there'll be money donated to each one of those foundations. We'll be doing raffle prizes, split the pots, Bengal helmets, Ken Anderson autographed jerseys, and all kinds of stuff. So save the date. There's going to be a limited number of spots available. 11:15, the watch party for the Steelers game at 16 Lots. And if you didn't catch the news, they literally just pushed that game into a prime time spot, I think at 4:05 on the 15th versus 1 o'clock. So we will be there all day in the parking lot, inside the restaurant itself, the brewery itself. So it's going to be a great day. We're real excited about the folks from 16 Lots, Del Hall, and our buddies, and the Green Beret Foundation and Ken Anderson Alliance. We're going to do a big blowout, big event, biggest event of the year for an away game. So we're pretty excited about it.
How does Ken Anderson's favorite pizza not have Grippos on it?
Yeah, you know what? And I'm kind of surprised it doesn't have pepperoni, to be honest. We're gonna have to talk to Kenny about not having pepperoni on his.
We're gonna have a Bengal gym pizza, Grippos and pepperoni.
You can't go wrong with Grippos on a pizza. I'm just saying. So, Jamie, how was your week, buddy? Everything good?
Yeah, it was good. I'm bummed with that 11 seconds to go loss to the what do you want to call them on the show this week? I don't know what you guys.
City up north, brother.
City up north. Yeah. So that was disappointing. Other than that, though, it's just been a busy week trying to follow on the news to see if we're going to make any additions. I saw a couple additions of the practice squad today, and then we'll see what else the Bengals do to address some of these glowing needs. They got some holes they need to fill. So I'm excited to see who we bring in.
All right, so before we get to Lindsey here, I just got to tell you, why are James and I in the same location at the same time when he lives in Brownsburg, Indiana? So James participates in the Reds fantasy camp, and he has a bunch of buddies down here with us right now. They were actually hitting some BP on the field today, and I did hear that out of 20 live pitches, he hit 2. And,
Not bad, huh?
Not bad.
And he did hit one of those 2 out of the infield today. So I'm impressed with James keeping his hands inside, quick to the ball, man. So he's
not bad for a lacrosse player trying to play baseball. But no, it's good to be in town, Smarty. And your first thing you put up there reminded me this Sunday back in the same lot is our Halloween game. So if you're coming to the tailgate Sunday, wear your favorite Halloween costume. There's going to be special prize yet to be determined for that Sunday. So look forward to seeing everybody Sunday. Same lot, same location, socially distanced, all that. And bring your Halloween costume. And what are you dressing as, Jimmy?
To be determined. We got Luke Atkins here with the Fat Randy shirt. I love it. Dude, I think I might go as the 3rd year in a row. I'm going to do it. I got my shell toes ready to go. I'm going as Run DMC again. My wife is a rocker. I'm a rapper. That's what we're going as. Halloween.
She needs to be one of the trolls from the new rock and roll Trolls movie. That'd be perfect for Trisha. But Craig's first slide there, president of the Fat Randy fan club. Congratulations, Craig. We'll have an induction this Sunday at the tailgate to officially put you in as president of the fan club.
Hey, guys, also want to give a shout-out to our friends. I see a lot of guys on here watching from the Who Dey Nation Facebook group.
Yep.
If you are a Bengals fan, which of course you are because you're watching the show right now, make sure you check out Who Dey Nation. Over 10,000 members, a lot of – man, it's all Bengals all the time in that group, guys. I don't know if I know you guys are in there, but it's nonstop. It's a lot of fun. It's Bengals all day, every day.
Well, hey, real quick before we get Lindsey, one more thing before Lindsey. I know Lindsey's in the waiting room right now. Jamie, is she good? Okay. So real quick, sorry, Lindsey, just give me one more second. Last week, our 25th episode, I'll tell you what, man, I enjoyed myself. I mean, we had Anthony Munoz for half an hour. Willie Anderson gave us almost 45 minutes. You talking about some great stories from both those guys. There were some stories from both those guys that nobody's ever heard before. So if you missed that episode, go back. We've got that on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Go back and check those out, man. That was a lot of fun. With Anthony's Foundation emailed me the next day and said they rewatched it 3 different times because there were some funny stories they had not heard before. That's why they kept rewatching it and sharing it. So it was a lot of fun last week. So let's get it going. We have Lindsey for a limited period of time, but let's go ahead and bring on Lindsey Patterson. Hey, Lindsey. Welcome to the show, Lindsey.
Good to see you. This is so cool.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And so Lindsey, before we start getting into the recap of the City Up North game and kind of talking about the Tennessee game this week, I don't want to embarrass you, but we got to talk. I know your family pretty well and a lot of people around your family. And you, for many years, you sat not too far from us at Paul Brown Stadium down there close to the field near the Bengals tunnel. and you and your family are just awesome. And I remember watching you. You are a fan, a diehard fan, and I don't know how you let that kind of. You're always objective in your reporting and everything you do, which is really cool. But I know deep down you're a really diehard fan. But I heard a story from a little birdie that you grew up around football. Your dad coached football for many years, and you were always on the sideline with your dad. So talk about some of those experiences. I mean, you were on the sideline as a young girl with your dad, kind of, I don't know if you were the water girl or kind of helping him out as a manager on the team, but you were around football your whole life for the most part, right?
Yeah, and I'll just say this to be fair when it comes to reporting. I think the fan part in me that's kind of gone away a little bit because just to be fair when it comes to reporting on a team. But yeah, with my dad, I think young age I grew up with two brothers who played football and my dad coached. So I was the water girl because I couldn't play obviously, and I just started going to football games with my dad from high school to junior high to my first NFL game was actually the Corey Dillon game that everybody will remember when the Bengals weren't really good that year. And they beat the Denver Broncos on October 22nd, 2000. So that was really cool. But yeah, unfortunately, my mom, she jokes about it because she's like, I thought when I had our little girl that I was going to get this little princess. But unfortunately, I grew up to love football. So that's where I'm at now.
So I think your dad might have coached a game. And if you remember, if everybody on this show is watching, we got a live stream right now, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If I remember correctly, your dad, one of your dad's team might have been playing on the same field. If you remember the Water Boy, everybody watched the Water Boy, right? And the Bourbon Bowl, I think, is what it was. Did your dad's team play on that, and you were the water girl on the same field that the Water Boy played on?
Oh yeah, that was years ago. Oh my goodness, I can't even count how many years ago it was. But yeah, it was the same field that Waterboy was filmed on. We had a Pee Wee championship for football, and he was the coach, and I was the water girl.
That is awesome. That is so cool. That's a cool story. All right, Lindsey. So sorry to put you on the spot like that. Hopefully you weren't too embarrassed. I thought that was really cool. I mean, so people need to understand. I mean, Lindsey grew up around football. She knows her stuff, man. She's a fun follow on Twitter, all of her social media. She knows her stuff, and make sure you follow her. So let's kind of break down this city up north game, Lindsey. I don't want to dig into it right now, but I want to get your take, Lindsey, on your thoughts around this game. There was definitely some positives on offense, and obviously the defense struggled late here, struggled throughout the game. But give us your take on the game.
I think you want to go to the offense right now, and what we've seen from Joe Burrow after 7 games, it's the real deal. You know, prior to the draft, just talking to people around the league, and I talked to people around LSU to just see their feel on Joe Burrow when you get that number 1 pick. If this guy's going to be what he was at LSU, and he is that and more. Because I say and more because he's dealt with an offensive line that hasn't been consistent. But credit to them, the last 2 weeks they've actually looked pretty good. You know, getting some weapons in there in T. Higgins. I think that's what's been really impressive. T. Higgins in just 7 games. He even told us last week that he felt a little nervous going into week 1 and 2, and this round 2 against Cleveland, he was going to feel better about. I just think the pieces offensively, you have to feel good at wide receiver. Look, when it comes to AJ Green, I feel this might be it for him in Cincinnati after the 2020 season, but just seeing him show up the last couple of weeks, and I know that, you know, that was kind of a mental and physical thing getting back out there when it comes to battling injuries for 2 years. And I think we're seeing that offensively, and just credit to the offensive line, because I say it all the time, if we're going to criticize a unit when they step up, you got to give them credit. And I think if somebody would have told you going into halftime of that game or even prior to the game that they were going to be without 2 of their best on the offensive line in Jonah Williams and Trey Hopkins, then you would have said, I wish Joe Burrow luck. I don't know how this is going to turn out. And yeah, they didn't get the win, but I think you can just point to that. And Gio Bernard was one of them that we talked to after the game. And he said, when we're in the huddle with Joe Burrow and just pretty much everybody in there, we feel like we're always going to win the game. And you really can see that with the confidence that they have in their quarterback. And I think that's just one of your biggest takeaways. And I know everyone wants to point, well, you got to work on the offensive line. And yes, that is a huge factor. I think plug in some guard pieces, and if Michael Jordan can play a little better, that's a big factor in the rest of the season. But defensively, the D-line, I mean, just a big disappointment right now, because I think even in camp and when they made the transaction of getting DJ Reader, that DJ Reader and Geno Atkins were going to be a force on the D-line. And unfortunately, we never even saw a full game with them. So I think there are a lot of missing pieces defensively. You can point to injuries. All teams have injuries, so that's not an excuse. But they still got to get someone who can get to the quarterback. And I think that is a big factor in what we saw this past Sunday. And yeah, they were without William Jackson III. But if you wanted to point to a positive, just the way Jesse Bates has been playing at safety is there's some optimism with some of these young core pieces.
Yeah, let's back up to that offensive line, Lindsey. I think you're right. I mean, for as much criticism that offensive line has received all year, Bobby Hart played his probably best game of the year. He played outstanding that game before he got hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Bobby Hart. I kind of dunk when I say it because I'm afraid to, but he actually has played pretty good in the last couple weeks at right tackle. It's unfortunate that he left with an injury and he won't be out there on Sunday, but I think credit to where it's due. I think some of the focus is because I've been talking to Pro Football Focus every week about offensive line grades. And we said it. We're like, nobody wants to focus on the guard play because it was all pointing to Bobby Hart. Bobby Hart's not, producing out there, but he is, in the last couple of weeks he really has, and that's huge. Even Trey Hopkins talked about that, just gaining that chemistry with the offensive line. And yeah, they're more than likely going to be without him for a while, to be determined if he comes back after the bye week. But that hurts their right side. And I think just this off season, you're probably not going to get 3 new pieces in there, but really just focusing on the talent that you have on this roster, picking up some free agent pieces. Maybe it's draft, but guard play is a really big focus because a lot of people weren't paying attention to it because Jonah Williams was playing so well at left tackle that Michael Jordan was struggling at left guard. He's playing a little better, but yeah, they need some guard help right now. But credits to the offensive line where it's due. The last 2 weeks they stepped up, and for them to come in, and even Billy Price to come in at center, they looked pretty good in the second half.
Yep.
Oh, hold on, James.
You were
Sorry
muted. Started.
That. I was muted. Talking about that O-line, specifically that right tackle position, Lindsey, you mentioned Bobby Hart's going to be out. Can we expect to see the kid out of Kansas starting at right tackle this week?
Everybody wants to see Hakeem Adeniji out there. And the thing is, I talked to Duke Manyweather, who worked with him this past offseason, him and Billy Price, actually. And I asked him about that because I knew, the criticism with Bobby Hart on the right side. And if we were to see Hakeem, and a lot of people would say, oh, he's too young, you don't want to really throw him in there yet. He actually practiced on left side and right side. So getting those reps in the offseason, I think, are really helpful. But look what this team is doing. Zach Taylor is showing he's not afraid to play these young guys. I mean, of course, you got Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, you're going to put him out there. But even in the linebacker situation, Logan Wilson, I feel like he's only going to get better each game. And same thing for Hakeem. And for Hakeem, I think just putting him out there on the right side, it's worth a shot. Because right now you're evaluating talent, and it doesn't hurt to see what you got on this roster and the younger guys. And, Dave Lapham is a big Hakeem guy too, and said that, he might have been a steal in the draft for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep. So Lindsey, actually just talking to our viewers right now, the live viewers. Hey, any question? I know we got a bunch of questions right now going on. Continue to type those in. We're going to go right to you guys just here in a second. But let's transition. Lindsey, in order for our Bengals to go 10-5-1, and it has to start this week, what do they have to do? What are the three or four things they have to do to get the victory this week against the Tennessee Titans?
Well, I think you look at the big guy on the ground. You got to stop Derrick Henry, and that's going to be the biggest thing. And to their credit, I mean, we want to point to all the fails on defense. They have been stopping the run, and I thought they did okay with Kareem this past Sunday. But yeah, you got to stop Henry on the ground. And I'm not really impressed with Tennessee's defense just yet. What they look like against the Steelers. Yeah, the Steelers are probably one of the best teams in the NFL. That's pretty easy to point to when they're undefeated right now. But I think if you can stop Henry, and I believe in the offense, the way that they've been producing over the last 2 weeks. Yeah, the offensive line, you're going to play a little musical chairs. How do they perform with some of the guys out there to be determined if Jonah Williams will be out there, if you put Fred Johnson out on left side and you have Hakeem on the right side. So there's still going to be some younger guys out there facing the Tennessee Titans, who are still a pretty good team. I don't think they're one of the best teams in the AFC. I mean, you can look at their record and say that, but I, for some reason, I have no clue why. I think this is going to be a close game on Sunday.
Yeah, we know one thing for sure: the Bengals win or lose, it's going to be a close game for sure. So what the final injury report? Just kind of share with our viewers. When is the final injury report coming out this week?
So they'll practice tomorrow. They go to the stadium a little bit on Mondays, and then Tuesdays they'll do their COVID test. But Wednesdays are real deal when players go out there, and normally you'll get a sense of who could come back. And I think eyes are all going to be on Trey Hopkins. He's in concussion protocol. I don't see him playing on Sunday. Everybody kind of knows the route with concussion in the NFL and what you have to do to get out of that. And then Jonah Williams, he's day-to-day right now. Joe Mixon, I don't expect him to be out there on Sunday, but anything is surprising. So what you see on Wednesday, you'll mostly get your limited guys who are out. Some of the vet guys will have rest days. We see AJ Green normally on that Wednesday or Thursday day rest day. Thursday is another full practice, and then Friday it's pretty late. So Friday afternoon is when you really find out who's going to get to go on Sunday.
We saw a lot of talk after the game with what was going on with Carlos. Obviously, the tweet about putting his house up for sale and all that. Anything happen here in the last 2 days on that front?
No, Carlos has deleted his post on Instagram, and everybody knows everything always lives on social media. So no matter if you delete it, it's always still there. And it's really surprising. I think anybody who has watched Carlos for the 11 years he's been in Cincinnati would say that's the wrong guy. That's not the Carlos that I know on and off the field and what he's been able to do. And it's really unfortunate. And I know last week there were people kind of saying, or that social media chatter that people could be saying people are, he's losing the locker room. Zach Taylor's losing the locker room. And I just don't think, I don't think that's the fair assumption. I think listening to leaders after the game and Gio and Tyler and just hearing them praise their coach and Zach Taylor, I just think it's unfortunate with what Carlos is doing. And to be fair, Carlos isn't producing right now. So I think that the Bengals are making the correct decision. A lot of people don't like when you say that Carlos isn't playing. He's one of the vets out there and they can't get to the quarterback right now. But I think this is the right move they're making. And unfortunately, Carlos hasn't liked the decisions the coaching staff is making.
Yeah, Lindsey, great point. I mean, there's different ways to approach this as a player when you're not happy, right? The way he's doing it, obviously. And again, I'm just going to show this again. Tyler Boyd. And it's a poop emoji in the middle. Sucker,
I understand, but
I was trying to read that when I was talking, so if I lost my train of thought, I was like, let's see what he put up there, because I'm trying to read it.
It's a sucker, it's a poop emoji, and then Carlos. That's Tyler Boyd. That's Tyler Boyd's comment. So hold on. Here's what's funny to me. So first of all, Carlos is one of probably the top 2 or 3 beloved Bengals on this team. I know it's not going through a good situation with him right now. It doesn't look good on him right now. But, Lindsey, he is 1 sack away from tying the Bengals franchise record for sacks from Eddie Edwards. I mean, I really thought he was going to do this earlier in the year, but his Pro Football Focus grades they don't lie. I mean, he has not done well. He's been one of the lowest graded defensive players, defensive lineman in the league against the run. I mean, he can be upset if he wants, but we love Carlos. We still love Carlos. This little situation here this past week or two, what's been going on is unfortunate. But I'm just hoping he gets his stuff together, Lindsey. But, man, 1 sack away from tying a franchise record is a big deal.
Here's what I think might happen. And this would be perfect for both parties. Carlos plays on Sunday, and he gets that sack. And he's there, he gets the record, and everybody knows the trade deadline is next week. And maybe he balls out. He balls out versus the Titans, and he puts a good resume tape together to get traded. Because I don't think that they can continue this relationship. Yes, we haven't heard anything from Carlos in the last couple of days. And Zach Taylor said, he told us twice. He told us on Sunday and Monday, that stuff is handled in-house. Unfortunately, some of it made social media. So I think the best thing to do is for both parties to part ways. And that might be at the end of the season when they release Carlos, or if they can find a trade partner. But this is how I feel about trades. And you got to find a trade partner. And the same goes for John Ross. If somebody's not out there willing to give you something, I'm not saying get 3rd, 4th rounders, but you got to get something for the guy if you want to trade him. And I know Carlos, he might want out right now, but this team's not just going to release him for nothing right now.
Right. So Jamie's going to – I know we got a bunch of questions, in the chat area right now. Jamie, you want to pop any of those up right now while you're looking? Or
yeah, actually, you know what? We'll stick to the Carlos situation here just for a second and assume he's going to get moved, which it sounds like it's heading that way. Lindsey, Luke's asking, where do you think the situation goes? Where do you think he goes if he leaves the Bengals?
if he leaves the Bengals. I know everybody's kind of pointing to Seattle, the Raiders, maybe reconnecting with Gunther or, Mike Zimmer to be determined, just a familiar face for Carlos. I still feel like, and this isn't a popular opinion, but I still feel like he's going to be on the Bengals roster until we get into spring or summer. So I still think he'll be on there. He's not going to be a factor. And I don't know if this is a good decision or not, but I still feel like he will make his way on this roster. Not to say that they're not trying to field calls and they're being active, and that has been out there. People who have been close to the situation in the front office have said that, they're being active with him on the trade block. But unfortunately, if they can't find someone, I could see them keeping him on this roster until the spring.
So, all right, we got our buddy Dalton asking, with all of what Joe brings to the huddle on offense, what or who is a leader on defense that's pulling in our players to keep grinding and do better each play?
That's a great question. I actually have two players right now, and it's because we hear from them a lot. And I think it's easy to point to the guy who's playing his best football right now, and that's Jesse Bates at safety. Anytime we talk to him, just the leader he brings in as still a young guy on the defensive side. I would definitely say Jesse Bates. And the other one is actually a new member, and he's kind of had to step up when they bring in three young linebackers. And I would say Josh Bynes. He is someone who is out there to teach the guys, give them a hard time, just be there in the huddle and really just be someone that everybody could lean to. Been in the league for over 10 years, and he's there to just mentor some of the younger guys. He knows, he's not going to be here for a super long time in Cincinnati, but I think what he brings, his presence out there, has been really helpful for some of the younger linebackers. And so, yeah, Josh Bynes and Jesse Bates.
Yeah, before we go to another question from the fans, I just wanted what was really fun to me to give me the feel that I don't think Zach has lost his locker room, contrary to what people might believe. Lindsey, you got better insight than we do, obviously, but we're looking at comments right now from Giovanni Bernard about this. We're looking at Tyler Boyd and all these other players making comments about this, like somebody basically just shut up and do your job is kind of what we're hearing from all these other players. That gives me the belief that there's some leaders on this team, and it's not a bunch of people. It's one or two players that are giving this issue. I mean, what your take on that?
You know what? I will say this because I tweeted out a couple of those comments, and just hearing from Gio Bernard, the 15 minutes after the game was some of the most honest conversation that I've ever heard from a player just after a loss, and how much he wants to win for Zach Taylor. He said that. He said, I want to win for this guy. And I knew this last season. This guy's the real deal. And Joe Burrow, he was talking about the game, and his comment, he didn't have to say this. He didn't have to go on about Zach Taylor, but he said, I felt like Zach Taylor called a great game. This guy is our leader. We believe in him at the helm, and he's going to turn things around. And he goes, I truly believe that Zach Taylor will do that. And I think when you hear that from Joe Burrow, look, you guys know this past offseason, even before they drafted Joe Burrow, you hear the national hype that this guy's not going to want to come to Cincinnati. It's, negative there. And yeah, they've only won one game and they have a tie this season. But Joe really likes this organization. And I can really tell by just some of his comments, because he doesn't have to go on after that. I mean, the way the offense balled out on Sunday, he could have just been like, okay, I'm here, I'll answer your questions. But he wanted to make sure everybody knew and that he was praising his head coach, because he hears what people are saying on the outside, and he knows the fan base is frustrated, but he believes in what's happening inside the organization right now.
So, Lindsey, I saw another question. I can't find it, but I remember what it said. We had someone in the chat asking, do you see the Bengals making any move at the deadline?
I think the only thing you could really point at right now, of course, they need some D-line help, and we know the Carlos situation. John Ross, I don't really see him going anywhere. I think that he, stays on the roster for the rest of 2020, and I don't see him active for very many games. I gave my one of my coworkers a question one day, and I said, do you think that John Ross will score another touchdown for the Cincinnati Bengals? And he's like, I don't know. I legit don't know if that guy will ever be active for the rest of the season. But when it comes to that, yeah, I mean, I would just look at if you can find any available guards out there for the offensive line. I know they're bringing Quentin Spain in right now, but with COVID, you got to deal with some of the protocols. You have to have 3 negative tests before you can even get in the building. I know it makes it difficult for that help that they need on the offensive line right now. I think anything, they'll do what they can with Carlos Dunlap, but if they can't find any suitors, he'll be on the roster for the rest of 2020. I know that's not exciting stuff. They were really active this offseason, but when it comes to the trade deadline, I'm not hearing anything right now.
Okay.
One last question, Lindsey, if you don't mind, before we go. Obviously, stopping Derrick Henry in the run's a big talking point for the game Sunday that we saw the late touchdown that was given up on defense. What's the thought on Lou, how he's doing? Are injuries the big problem? We talked about the lack of pass rush on the defensive side of the ball. What are you hearing on the buzz on Lou as defensive coordinator?
I mean, it's fair to say that he's on the hot seat right now. You look at back-to-back games, and there's games you can point out already this season with 2 minutes to go at halftime, and you know the opponent's going to score points. The defensive guys, they've talked about it. Josh Bynes being one of them just this past Monday, just the support that he has for his coordinator. But it's fair to look over there because all teams are battling injuries. I mean, it's easy to say that you're without Trey Waynes. You never saw him yet this season. They didn't have William Jackson III out there, who I feel is playing pretty good for a contract year. So, yeah, they have some injuries, and their defensive line has dealt with plenty and a little bit of drama with getting to the quarterback. But I mean, at some point, you got to learn how to stop someone. And it just, if you put up the way that the offense has looked in the past 2 games, you go to Indy, you come back home, you should win those games. And they're relying on the defense to make one stop, and they can't do it yet. So it's fair to have some question marks when it comes from coaching and some of the players, even the healthy ones.
Yep. Well, Lindsey, look, we're as Cincinnati fans. You do a lot of things in this city for a lot of different organizations and companies. We're lucky to have you, Lindsey. We appreciate you guys coming on. We love watching you, love following you on especially Twitter. You're one of the best, and I know you're not showing it. You're not biased in any way on your reporting, but I know you're a diehard fan, and we love you. Just keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for coming on with us tonight.
I loved coming on. You guys do such a great job. Thanks for having me.
Thanks you, Lindsey.
Thanks, Lindsey.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
See ya. So I got to share a quick story. So we sit where our seats are. We sit in section 158, right by the Bengals tunnel. Joe Burrow's family sits on the other side of the tunnel. So it's his girlfriend, his mom, and his dad were sitting close to each other. So as the game gets later, it gets a little more intense. Dad scoots over to the next section where there's an empty seat. So, he just wants to be by himself and focus on and mom and girlfriend are sitting there. So it was so fun watching them. They were having a lot of fun watching their son play, and, their son and and his girlfriend was up there as well. But after the game was over with, Joe Burrow was running off the field, and Joe Burrow was not a happy camper, by the way. This guy is uber competitive, which I love in my quarterback. He's a leader. He's competitive. He doesn't accept losing. All the comments you hear in this guy, the guy is awesome. So he's running off the field, and you literally could hear his mom yell because there's only 12,000 people in the stands. Said, "Head up, Joe. You're going to be okay." Joe looks up at mom and dad, shakes his head, and he is not. I mean, it was one of those, "Mom, leave me alone. I'm tired of losing. I want to win. I'm going to do everything I can to win these games." But it was just so fun watching that. There was no negativity in that whatsoever. It was just like, mom trying to pick her kid up, but Joe was like, I want to win, and I'm going to figure out a way to do this. Joe did everything he could in that game to win that game. But it was just fun. I wanted to share that with everybody because even if you were at the game, if you weren't close to that area, you would not have seen that. But it was a fun time.
I mean, this is numbers the last, 2 weeks going over 400 yards. It's just, we knew we had something special when we drafted him, but he just continues to go out there and produce. Obviously, the first play or first series of the Browns game, we drive down the field, had a bad turnover. He'd probably like to have that throw all over again. But, the rest of the game just brushed it off and hit guys that were covered, sitting in that end zone watching the field. They're like, how did he thread that needle? And, we saw it for the Tyler Boyd touchdown. We saw it on a lot of other passes. We're fortunate to have him. Now we just got to build up the team around him, and hopefully a tide turn starting this weekend against Tennessee.
Yep. I tell you what, Lindsey was freaking awesome. She does a really good job for the city and the organization.
Guys, I don't know how I'm going to manage running a Lindsey and Marissa fan club.
Wait a minute. You got the Marissa Contepelli fan club. I'm gonna have to be the Lindsey Patterson fan club here. Right. We gotta find somebody for James here. He's the Jeff Hobson fan club right here.
Yeah, a Syracuse guy. I like that. Yes. I'll just follow the Syracuse guy.
Oh, so let's transition. It was so fun to have Lindsey on. I've been wanting to get her on for a long time. She hasn't been able to make her schedule work the past few weeks. But let's go ahead and let's go. So very special fans of the week. So we're going to pull on a family. The first time we've had a whole family from upstate New York. So let's go ahead and pull our fans of the week on.
Wait, what are you doing?
There they are. Look at the beautiful faces. Hey guys. All right. Who day, guys? So hold on. Let me make sure I have these names right. So I have AJ. We have JoJo.
Hey!
We have the oldest daughter. Is it Gianna? Gianna, thank you. Cutie. We got Josephine and we got Tony, right?
Woohoo!
All right. So let me do a quick introduction. So this family, I have had so much fun on Twitter and I think even on Facebook. Every single week, this family does a video, and they do the video on an opposing team, and it will have you crying laughing. It is so good. So we're going to play a video here. The last one they did was about the Cleveland Browns and how to flush it down. So let's play this video so everybody can watch this.
What was that? Something stinks. Smells like turds. It smells like it's coming from the bathroom. Let's go check. Oh. Ew, there's a piece of poop on the Browns helmet. It's stinky. Let's check the other toilets. See, it's a Baker Mayfield turd. Okay, let's check the last toilet. Ew, it's a dancing poop turd. It's brown, flush down. Two brown leaves down. I put it in the potty and flush it down. Bye bye poop. Bye bye poop. Brown leaves down. I put it in the potty and flush it down. Around in this house, we saved the day. Hooray! Pita, pita, bingo,
Guys, that was freaking awesome. we have a crowd here right now, Pies and Pints, cheering and yelling. So guys, hey, all I know is if you guys don't win an Oscar award for some of these things this year, we're going to be very upset about it. So tell us, AJ and JoJo. So help us understand. So right now you're on Twitter and Facebook, I think. Tell everybody right now. We got viewers on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. How do people follow you guys to watch these weekly videos? Because they're hilarious.
Yeah, I just kind of posted them to my regular feed. I don't have like a site. So it's just AJ Arnitz, but I post them on all these Bengal sites. Who Day Nation, NFL memes. There's like 10 different sites, AFC North Conflict. And that really gets them going when it's the other team fans commenting on it. And then Twitter, it's just AJ Arnitz, and I'm just tweeting it out there. I'm tagging you guys out there to retweet them because you have the big fan base. And thank God you're doing it because we're getting some good credit for it.
We love love. Living in New York, we need the love.
Yeah. So AJ, you're not the star of the show. Everybody else is. I'm just saying. I mean, they do. They are the stars of the show, not you, AJ.
Oh my God, yeah. And I know that. So, I try to, when I'm in it, I either have a mask on or something around.
The Raven head, I saw that one. The Raven,
Raven, Eagle. So,
so tell everybody. So you're in upstate New York. You're near Rochester, New York, right?
Yeah.
So, which James will be talking to you in a minute because he's from that area. So he's eager to talk to you guys. So let's first of all talk about how in the heck did you guys become Bengal fans in Rochester, New York? Tell us the story.
So it just started. My dad liked him in the 80s. He called him a renegade team. He said there were two choices for him. It was the Bengals or the Raiders. They were quick to score a touchdown, quick to get in a fight, and that was an attractive team for him. So he went Cincy all day. I'm so happy that he did. And I just followed it, watched the games with him on Sundays, became a thing, more of a family environment that we created. And we actually made it to Cincinnati for his first game. She took me for my first one. And his was the playoff game where Carson hurt his knee. And that was unbelievable. Yeah. But the first one that I went to, Joe took me. We played the Vikings, and we beat them by like 40 points. It was a home opener, and that was my first time setting foot at Paul Brown Stadium. And it was like heaven. Being around fans, I couldn't get enough of it. I've been back every year because growing up here, it's Bills country. So I kind of have PTSD from growing up. Everyone's making fun of me. The Bills are winning not winning Super Bowls, going to Super Bowls in the 90s, and the Bengals weren't doing so hot when I was their age. But it's been a wild ride, and we just become bigger fans as the years go on. And
I've managed to escape upstate New York and not become a Bills, Giants, or Jets fan. So I'm right there with you. But tell us how these videos are awesome. Tell us how the creative process starts. Is it the Monday, the week of the game, that you start jotting down some ideas?
So I'm a teacher, and we are like in a hybrid learning model. So our girls don't go to school on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I come home, and it's been dad's school, which has become filmmaking Bengal school. So on Fridays, after the homework is done, thank you, teachers. Yay, teachers. After the homework is done, it is go time, but they have been creatively empowering a dream, because you were from upstate New York. If you don't have fans around you, you find them, you make them, and you surround yourself with them. So it's definitely something that I come home to, because I haven't been in any of those videos, but it's fantastic. And I've got to say, my principal was a Browns fan. He came into my classroom to talk about it yesterday, but let me tell you, he loves the videos. He loves the belief that, that there's a family that's out there that loves Bengals, because they have felt our pain as well.
All right, so I got a question for each one of the kids. I'm going to start with the oldest. I think I have this order right. Gianna, right, is the oldest?
Yeah.
All right, Gianna, you're such a cutie. So what is your favorite part of doing these videos? What is your favorite thing about these videos?
Mostly, I just like filming them. They're a lot of fun. And especially because we just mess around with the ideas. Like, my dad comes up with like the main part, and then while we're filming, we will just come up with like other ideas, and we just add them together, and it's just a fun experience.
That's really cool. That's a really good answer. Good job. All right, the middle, is it Josephine's the middle one, right?
Yep.
All right, Josephine, I got a question for you. All right, be honest here, mom and dad. Which one messes up the lot and you have to do? Which one messes up the most and you have to do retakes? Is it mom or dad? Who messes up the most in these videos? Be honest. Come on.
I would say dad, since he's in most of them. My mom isn't in them mostly.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. I can see that. I would, if I was making my call, I would have said dad as well. So definitely not mom. Good job. Good job. All right, Tony, I need you. So which one of the videos was your favorite so far?
Hard one. The Eagle, the Raven, the Browns.
The ones that we went against the Colts.
Oh, she liked the Colts game.
That was a really good. That was a really good one.
You got to beat up me.
Tony Elizabeth, why did you like the Colts one?
Because I like spitting out the fake water.
Oh, she likes spitting out the fake water. So if you saw that one, that was she was given a good Rocky punch.
And then
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know there are thousands of people watching you guys right now. You guys are rock stars, not just in Cincinnati, but not just across the country. There are viewers across the world right now who love you guys. You guys do a great job, and we appreciate. Keep doing these things the rest of the year. Now, maybe we might not. We're gonna win a lot of games this year, maybe. But remember, we're building for next year, guys, and we need this positive vibe that you guys are bringing, this positive energy. And we appreciate it all across the country, all across the world, not just here in Cincinnati. I think we have one more question for you guys as well.
Not a question. I'm interested to see what you guys are going to do on the bye week. I want to see somebody dress up as Bengal Jim and pretend they're Bengal Jim.
Yeah, I didn't think about the bye week. I'm focused right now on the Titans. I got a good plan for the Steelers. Pumped about that one. And yeah, we can settle into something maybe funny for the bye week.
So give us a sneak preview, just a little hint of all the viewers out there right now. So for the Titans, are you able to share what you guys have planned for the Titans video?
Right now, my idea is kind of focusing on Derrick Henry's hair. Kind of the turd coming in the back of his helmet. So I'm going to probably work with something with that.
Love it. Guys, thanks so much for being with us. And, we've been watching you all year with these videos, and it was just an obvious choice to get you guys on so more people could see what you guys are doing. We're going to get more people, so you don't have to tag everybody in these things, hopefully, at some point, right? We're going to get you guys a bunch more followers on Facebook and Twitter, because I think that's where I see you guys the most. Thank you so much. Keep working hard in school, girls, okay? Keep working hard. Be good for mom and dad. And my favorite video, just to let you know which one my favorite video was that you guys did. If it's brown, flush it down. The poopy video was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's right. You go, Tony. See you guys.
All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
That was great. That video is hilarious.
You got to go back and watch the other ones. The Raven ones was funny. AJ was dressed up as a Raven, had a big Ravens mask on, and the kids were just lighting him up, tackling him, and beating him up. It was great.
So, for our friends watching on Periscope, Twitter, you guys can follow them here at this address, and then we'll share their Facebook. We'll share the Facebook one on Facebook, so people that are there can check that out as well.
Yep, they're posting them both on Facebook and Twitter right now. So we'll make sure we share that.
And check out those videos. And you know what? Huge props to the parents doing that with the kids. I think that's awesome. Those kids are very lucky. Very lucky.
How excited. Could you see just the look on the kids' faces? I mean, they were just so excited to be on the show tonight. It was fun. It was a lot of fun having them on. So do we have is Tom still in the room?
Tom is here.
Man, let's hit this History 101.
All right, here we go.
Roll. Tom, Justin, last time we saw you, brother, you had a suit and tie on, but you look way better right now without that suit and tie.
Well, I mean, you guys to me, and I mean, I follow something great every week. Follow a toilet, but I mean, I don't know what was better about that video: the hard work and privilege going on out there, or the haunting watching you dance. That was,
yeah, it's funny. So real quick, Tom, I know we're having a little bit of a sound issue with you right now. So here's what Tom and I think we'll be okay with it. Let me check where we're at with the sound here. James. Okay, so we should be okay with you, Tom. So Tom, I don't know if you heard this earlier, and I didn't get a chance to text you. I did text you, I think. So I finally got a hold of James Brooks. Prior to you and I making a decision, we wanted to talk about Bengals history at 101 and talk about James Brooks today. I tried to get him on tonight, and he answered his phone. I'm like, whoa! As I did, so he couldn't come on with us tonight, Tom, because he had something going on with the wife, some things going on. So one of the next two Sundays he will be on, and Marcus Hunt will be on the other Tuesday night that we do. But I mean, let's talk about James Brooks. This guy is an absolute Bengals legend. Played for the Bengals from 84 to 1991, came from the Chargers. He actually played for the Chargers in the Freezer Bowl, if you remember. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Number 2 for Cincinnati in history in rushing yards at over almost 6,500 yards, just barely behind Corey Dillon's number one in Bengals history in rushing average over his career at 4.8 yards, and number one overall in a single season rush average at 4.8, and top 20 in receiving yards at over 3,000 yards as receiving, not just he's a running back, but he over 3,000 yards, top 20 there, and number one in season average at 5.6 yards per carry. And I didn't write down which year that was, but 5.6 yards a carry for a whole season, Tom. This guy was legit. And I tell you what, let's do this, Tom. I got a short video we want to play, and then we're going to talk about James Brooks.
James Brooks moves up. Watch out for a quick handoff to Brooks. There it is. See Brooks. Just a quick little trap right up the middle. There's no one there. All the coverage is spread out. There's no one left in the secondary to make the tackle. And Brooks walks into the end zone perfectly untouched. The key block. Ball is spotted right outside the 10. Over to Brooks, wide open, touchdown, and what a catch! Oh my, James Brooks, the ball thrown behind him, and he makes a spin even though he was wide open. A terrific play for the Bengals' first touchdown.
A play pass by Boomer. You see him faking. Now Brooks is sneaking out of the backfield, and most often a linebacker's there to cover, and Billy Ray Smith just couldn't stay with it.
Boy, that's a baseball-type acrobatic outfielder catch.
So Tom, we could have played an hour of James Brooks highlights. This dude was the real dude. He could run through you, over you, around you. He is a great receiving running back. He was the man.
He was the most versatile running back in Bengals history. And like you said, the great thing about him is, despite his size, he could run between tackles, bang it between the tackles, sweep. He could run it to the outside. He had moves to take it inside and then push it outside, kick it outside, take it outside and cut back inside. I mean, that famous running play in the 80s that the Bengals just feasted on was him bouncing it outside and having Max Montoya leading downfield. But you were right, Jimmy. In fact, I think a couple of years he may have even gone over 5 yards rushing average per year. And the odd thing about him, despite his stature, the more they gave him the ball, the better he did. He just never wore down. But he was a runner. As a receiver, he was, through his era, he was one of the few running backs that had 30 receiving touchdowns to go with 30 rushing touchdowns, the 30-30 club, which was used to be, they talked about a lot. They don't seem to anymore. But in an era, where you had Roger Craig, Thurman Thomas, he was the most durable and the most versatile. I can remember in the Super Bowl year, and then later on when he was interviewed, Sam White, they were asking him about his receiving corps, and they said, "Who's your most important receiver?" And he said, "James Brooks." And they said, "But yeah, you got Eddie Brown, you got Tim McGee, you got Rodney." He said, "No, James Brooks is our most important receiver," and he could do that. A lot of times the Bengals would line him up. He'd go into the huddle and they'd break out and they'd line him up as a receiver. It would confuse the defense. They'd put a safety on him, and it was good night. He would just devour it. But the other part of his game that nobody talked about in back was, and kind of the way we talked about we were picking him this week, was the week Gio had last week. He had tough yardage. Maybe his average per carry wasn't that great, but he got the tough yards when they needed him. He was fantastic as a receiver, but Gio's blitz pickup last week, and not just on some big plays, but a lot of plays. And JB was that. He was a tough blocker. When Icky was having his great streak in the Super Bowl years, they'd leave JB in there to block for him. What a fantastic 1-2 punch. But, there were years, 89 when he went over 1,200 yards, 90 when he was just over 1,000. That year they gave the ball a little bit more to Harold Green, his rookie year, took a little bit of the load off him. But all around, all purpose, he's the best running back in Bengals history.
he might be second on the list behind Corey Dillon with yardage.
Correct.
The most versatile running back, without a doubt, in Bengal history is absolutely James Brooks, Tom. I agree with you, buddy. I mean, this guy he would never go out of bounds. I mean, if there was a DB that was going to let up and just kind of push him out of bounds, he was going to get a helmet between his numbers and get lit up for another 3 to 5 yards. I mean, this guy was the real deal, man. And what a great pickup. What a great getting him from San Diego to Cincinnati. I don't know if the Bengals make the Super Bowl run in '88, Tom, without James Brooks. I mean, he was that critical to the team.
I don't think they have that power offense through the 80s. He was the most important skill position player they had for that entire decade from Sam Weich's era on. He was the most important skill player they had, other than Boomer.
We're going to cut this off on the sake of time, but I love this discussion. I love this topic from a history perspective, Bengals History 101. So, Tom, when we get James Brooks on, it's either going to be next week or the week after. I'm waiting on a response from him, which week works best for him. We're going to talk a little bit more about James the Man Brooks, because this guy was the real deal. And I know a lot of younger Bengal fans never got a chance to see him play, but this guy, as great as Corey Dillon was, and I love Corey Dillon, James Brooks was the best all-around back. Maybe the best back in Bengals history, in my opinion. With you, I'm with you on that, Tom. Justin, brother, we appreciate it, man, and thanks for being with us, buddy. We will talk to you next week, and we're gonna have fun next week. Whether it's either James Brooks or Marcus Hunt next week, we're gonna have fun.
You guys stay safe.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, big dog.
Good Tom.
All right, Jamie. So we wanted to finish with we got a bunch of closing things here, but we wanted to go with a question of the week, right?
Question of the week.
All right, we need everybody's participation on this, guys.
Yes, we definitely want to see people commenting in the comments. Question of the week: what would you do with Carlos Dunlap if you were the GM? Jimmy, start with you.
All right, so here's me. I don't want to take this last week and a half, 2 weeks of negativity from Carlos and him really approaching this completely inappropriately, in my opinion, and wash away all the great years that this guy's had. This guy has been a great pro, as Dave Lapham would say, he's been a pro's pro up until about a week or two ago. This guy has been a great, outstanding player for the Cincinnati Bengals organization. One of my favorite players on this current team. I honestly hope that Carlos Dunlap can understand you're at the end of your career, Carlos. I'm not saying you're done this year or next year, but you're another year or two away. Okay. Understand that your mind might be telling you one thing, but your body physically is not performing like it has been in previous years. Understand you have a new role now within this organization, and that's not a bad thing. You can't continue to play like you've been playing these last 10 years because you've had an outstanding career. We love you as a fan base. We appreciate everything you've done. The direct question you ask on this question of the week, I am hoping there's a sit-down discussion between the ownership group, the coaching staff, and Carlos, and understand that the market out there for defensive end, as you can see in this market right now, is not big. They're not going to get anything for him. So there's not a situation out here where we're going to get some high-round draft pick or some big starting offensive line for Carlos Dunlap. It is not happening. So Carlos needs to understand and get clarity in his head where he's at in his career and what's going on in today's NFL market. I'm hoping the team, the coaching staff, and the ownership group can sit down and they can come to an understanding and Carlos can get his head right. And let's break this Eddie Edwards sack record for this organization. That's where I'm at.
My turn. Is Jimmy done, or is he need another 20 minutes?
Hey, give me 20 minutes. I'm going to be at the 50-yard line at the Paul Brown Stadium right behind me. I've had a few coldies here at Pies and Pints. These people have been absolutely awesome. Hey, let me tell you, if you've not been to Pies and Pints, you've got to get down here, guys. First of all, it's damn close to Paul Brown Stadium, and their pizza is ridiculous. The beer selection here is outstanding. And let me tell you something. I'm kind of a wing connoisseur. I love chicken wings. Some of the best chicken wings in the city. I'm not saying they're the best, but they are close. There's some very good chicken wings here at Pies and Pints. My oldest son played college football in Charleston, and that's where the Pies and Pints originated from. So we used to go there every week when we go in for games, and I'm glad to have a couple here I opened in the Cincinnati area. One, it is a paid advertising. We got to pay full price for a beer. They're not even giving us discounts on this. But my bad, Pies and Pints, thank you. Great view. Great location. We love you guys.
All right, James, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in on this one because I think you might be. I'm at the complete opposite end of Jimmy. Okay.
All right, let's hear it. Don't be 25 minutes in your dissertation, though.
I say he never plays the game again for the Bengals. He never gets the satisfaction of tying the record or getting the record. This guy has broke like cardinal sin rule. You do not post anything from the locker room on social media ever. You do not call out your coaches like that. You do not cry. You don't do any of that. And secondly, I don't think he ever plays the game again because he wasted at least a half an hour of my time watching this Instagram live video where I'm watching him eat a bag of chips and talking philosophically about life. I'm done, man. I'm done. Carlos is fine. To me, I've lost all respect for him. I understand that he's done a lot for this team, but what a way to ruin your legacy with the team. You've literally ruined your legacy with the team. And if I'm the GM, he never plays again.
All right, hold on. So everybody that's watching right now, I love my guy Jamie, and we're going to agree to disagree on this one, but I thought all Canadians were supposed to be nice, Jamie. You're the most angriest Canadian I've ever seen in my life, dude.
I'm a nice guy.
No, that's a great point, brother. I understand where you come up with that, man. So since you and I are polar opposites, let's see where our guy James winds up on this one.
I'm strictly wearing my GM hat on this. I got to look at the bottom line of what are the financial implications if we just cut him first, what we trade him first, what we owe him in dead money for next year. Because whatever he's making, 10 million, 9 million, as you said, Jimmy, he is at the end of the line, whether it's this year or next. But if we get rid of him, how does it help us? Can we use that money next year? Any of that stuff. So I'm going to do what's best for the team. If it's trading him, great. Obviously, we're not getting much production now. If it's cutting him, great. But I want to do what's best financially for the team so we can take that 10 million he's making in 2021 and put it towards a position of need. And again, if somebody that wants to be here, he's been great up until this point with the team. So you hate to see it end on this note, but unfortunately it might have to. Jamie, let's hear what the fans have to say.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too, guys, like this wasn't just he didn't just do this once. This has been an ongoing, like multiple times where he's pulling this crap. It's unreal. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to find a lot of comments here, guys. All right, here we go. You're Canadian, apparently. All right.
Angry Canadian.
I think he's still thinking about Lindsey or Marissa. I think he's kind of torn on that. It's like a love triangle with Jamie.
Maybe take a 5th rounder for Dunlap and a 7th. Cut. We got another cut.
Oh.
Ryan says you earn your playing time. Couldn't agree more.
I don't know who that is.
Trading for a draft pick. Trade for picks, even though it breaks my heart. Send him to New York with a pick. Get something before it's lost. I honestly think this was last year.
Luke doesn't know what he's talking about.
Steve says, well said. Steve and Jeff say, well said.
So it's double brain. It's like we're on Steve and Jeff know what they're talking about.
Ryan also says you do whatever you can to help your team win the games, no matter what your role is.
Good point, Ryan. Good point.
He's an employee with the team. Sit down and talk. That's what we do. Right the ship. Let's see here. We got people saying good say, Jim. So
Rodrigo and I are like connecting.
Jimmy pays all these people.
Prime. Let's see here. Bengal Bobby says plan the rest of the year. Situations going to be better mutually. You're to separate end of season. Someone else agrees with me here. That ended with the whiteboard pick.
Yeah, that was awful, man. That's not a good thing. I'm with you.
Let's see here. Luke again says good call, Jamie. Not even mad at you, brother. That's good. I think we should trade him. I think he's a great player, but I agree the negativity is not good for this new Bengals team. I wish him the best, but it's time for him to go. And you know what? To Chris's point, what's the one thing Zach has said since day one? Culture. Culture,
I think what Chris meant by that is no more cookies for Carlos.
He needs to get some of those spiked cookies.
No more cookies. You're done, Carlos. No more cookies.
Trade him for a 6-pack from 16 lots.
Whoa. Wait a minute now.
Come to the tailgate Sunday. We'll get some 16 lots from our buddy Dell.
Angry Canadian fan club to start up in Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh.
Right,
So guys, let's
come down at 4:00 with you guys and start sending.
Yeah,
it was 5. It was 5.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and close this out, guys. Let's go ahead and start with you, Jamie, and your closing comments, and then we'll go to James, and then I'll close it out.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this week goes. I think if we lose if we get shredded on defense against the Titans, if we can't stop the run even a little bit, I think Lou's done in Cincinnati. I don't see how he survives another if we get embarrassed, or if it's a close game and then we lose it in the final drive because we can't stop anything. I don't see how we survive. I'm curious to see if it's the new Bengals team. In the offseason, we see them making all these free agent acquisitions. Does that mean that their thinking's changing? Are they willing to make some changes mid-season? Are they willing to maybe give people shorter ropes than they have in the past? I'm curious to see how that goes. So I'll be watching that game on Sunday closely to see what happens after.
Yep.
My turn?
Yeah.
Before Jimmy talks for 25 minutes?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. I just finished chapter number 56 on how to lose a game 100 different ways by the Cincinnati Bengals after last Sunday's loss. So we'll turn that page. Hopefully I don't have to write chapter 57 this week. Look forward to seeing everybody that's going to be in town Sunday. Remember, it's a Halloween tailgate, so wear your costumes. Come drink some 16 lots, and we'll be in the same lot looking to have some fun. See, short, sweet, Jimmy. Can you do that?
See you. Bye. Good day.
Yeah, right.
We're done. Hold on. I got one more thing to say. All right. So I'm going to give you another prediction because I've been right all freaking year, guys. All year. 10-5-1. 24-10. Bengals upset Titans this week at home. So it's going to happen. Just record this video, Jamie, and make sure you play this clip specifically. 24-10, Bengals beat the Titans. If we happen to lose, delete it. So reminder, 11:15, we're doing our huge fundraiser with the Green Berets, the Ken Anderson Alliance, in conjunction with 16 Lots and Bengal Jim and Friends. We will all be there on the 15th. Remember that the Steelers game has got moved to the 4:00 time slot, prime time. All kinds of fun stuff going on that day. We're going to raise as much money as we can for these two great charities in our area. We want to also thank the people here at Pies and Pints. Great location right here in the Banks, right next to Paul Brown Stadium. If you haven't been down here, great beer selection, a massive beer selection, great specialty pizzas. But I'm telling you, don't sleep on these wings. Try them. They're delicious. Look, this is our second time doing a remote show. We had some hiccups that first remote show. Pretty seamless now. We're going to maybe start doing these a little differently. I might drive up to Indianapolis with James, and we might there's a bunch of Bengal fans in the Indy area. So we're going to start doing these more regularly once we figure out the sound system, how this is going to work moving forward. So stay tuned. We wanted to have you join us if you're able to and you feel comfortable, and you can join us. So the remote locations, we're going to continue to do these every now and then, hopefully give you more advance notice than just a day or two, okay? And don't forget, James just talked about the Halloween game against the Titans. Brandon, don't ever go to Portsmouth and visit Brandon. Hannah, on the other hand, she's a nice lady.
Up and do a Canadian version of the show here, or what?
You know what? I thought all Canadians were nice until we met you today, Jamie. You had a bad day today. I'm just saying. Angry Canadian show, but hey. No, we appreciate all the viewers, and we were very excited last week with Munoz and Willie Anderson, and very excited about today with Lindsey Patterson, and next week and a week after with James Brooks and Marcus Hunt. Very exciting time. So We appreciate everybody for viewing. And remember, this is by the fans for the fans. We're nobody special. You're in the same par with us, guys. We appreciate you guys being with us and participating with us. We love bringing people together, and we love you guys. And Houday, let's get a dub this week against the Titans. We'll see you guys.
Houday. Cheers, guys.
Jimmy.